I'm ready, yeah.
So 6:31, good evening. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. All right. I'm ready to get started, so, all right, there we go. Let's start with the call to order for the agenda for the Village of Campton Hills, Planning and Zoning Commission for Wednesday, February 11th. Roll call, please, Mr. Brown.
Commissioner McKelvey,
Here.
Commissioner Teat,
Here.
Commissioner Anderson,
Here.
Chairman Frederick,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Kopek,
Here.
Commissioner Larario is not here. I just tried to call him and he's unavailable.
Okay, all right, that's good enough, thanks. All right, item number 3, motion to approve the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission for January 14th. Have a motion,
So moved.
all right.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Kopek moves, Mr. Teat seconds it. Edits, corrections, anything you'd like to add? No? The only thing I saw was the very first line, called the meeting to order at 7 PM, but started at 6:30.
It was posted for 6:30, but we didn't, people came at 7, so we actually started at 7.
Okay, all right, good. No, thanks for the understanding. All right. Then I had no other comments, so. If there are no further comments, then I'll take a voice vote. All those in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item number 4, public comment. This is for public comments concerning something that is not on the agenda. So if you're here for the hippotherapy, that would not be the time to speak. So anything else I would like to speak about other than that? Then hearing no comments, we'll continue to item number 5. Before we start item number 5, we have 2 public hearings tonight. One is for a zoning ordinance text amendment, would be to include hippotherapy specifically into our text, our ordinance. And the second is a public hearing for a special use, if that is approved. If that is approved, the second one then would be for a special use application for hippotherapy. Seeing how these are quite related to each other, I think I would like to have a motion to open both public hearings, all right? Both public hearings at the same time, so then we can cross-check that. All right?
So moved.
So I have a motion to open both public hearings, case 2601 and case 2602. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Kopek is a second. Since it's a public hearing, can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner McKelvey? Aye. Mr. Teat?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson? Yes. Chairman Frederick?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kopek?
Yes.
All right. Motion carries, so I'll open the public hearing. You all had a chance, I hope, to read the packet. I thought it was an excellent packet with a lot of good information in it and a lot of context and background. So I'm not real familiar with hippotherapy, so I learned a lot about what that is and how it applies in the village. So, I don't know, Mr. Brown, if you would like to start with an
Yeah, I
opening
can just
comment?
give an overview. So we were, we start out in the summary, we were approached by Ms. Generis and Lauren, and she's here this evening. And she spoke with me. There was also a subsequent conversation where the village president was present, and we discussed options on how to get to yes. I think there was a general feeling that this was not a bad idea for the village. And as I call out in the first staff report, we do have therapeutic riding already listed in Article 9, which is the keeping of animals. I was uncomfortable just allowing, blessing this as under therapeutic riding. First of all, there is a distinction between therapeutic riding and hippotherapy. From a land use perspective, that's perhaps not that great, but what really kind of bothered me was this would be an instance where someone else would be operating a business on a residentially zoned property, and it would not be a home business because the person operating the business doesn't reside there. That was just the first strike against it. Could also be a situation where that person would exceed the number of other employees, other non-family members allowed So, we looked at farm business district overlay, adding this to farm business overlay. I didn't like that because a farm business overlay allows as a permitted use some things that might be undesirable in this particular location that Lauren was looking at. So, really I thought it was appropriate to amend the zoning ordinance, add hippotherapy, put the definition in, put it in that table, and indicate that it's a special use in these residential zones, RE1, RE2. Maybe if you want to discuss going further, that would be fine. And then the zoning ordinance would be amended, and then we would process the special use. So at the board level, I checked with our attorney. I've done this in other communities where we process an amendment to the ordinance and a special use concurrently. Obviously, at the board level, the zoning ordinance has to be approved before they approve the special use. So that would occur in this instance. So I have a couple definitions for hippotherapy, some general ones that I found online, and then I have a zoning one, which is kind of a composite of that. Willing to take suggestions for that. And then that's it. I tried to include some supplementary material on hippotherapy. There was a good description of hippotherapy versus therapeutic riding in there. And again, I don't think the land use distinction is all that great from what I could see. But again, this would not be a home-based business. And I think that's the reason why we're going through this exercise tonight. So that's it. That's my overview. If you have any other questions, I can answer. I'm sure Lauren could probably add more than what I have here on hippotherapy and what that's about, and specifics of her business, how she intends to run it on the subject.
Very good. Just for the commissioner's information, my idea is that we were going to have two separate votes. So when we'll have a discussion and we'll have some presentation, you'll be able to ask questions and so forth. But we'll have two separate votes. One will be to vote for or against the text amendment. And then once that has been completed, well, if it's in the affirmative, then we can go ahead with the second vote. If the first vote is in the negative or does not pass, then the second point is moot.
Well, again, that's just a recommendation to the board,
And
so
that-
we
on this
could
point, yes.
deny the text amendment, but the board can overrule, so we'd be voting on both regardless.
Huh? Yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
that would be voting, because it is a recommendation.
Right.
It is a recommendation.
Yes.
But it would be odd to vote no on one of this. But I understand what you're saying. Okay, at this time, I'd like to offer the petitioner an opportunity to speak if they so feel they would like to, or they just like the application to speak for itself. But if the petitioner would like to make any statements, you're not required to.
Oh, I can talk for days about it.
Where's
I
our
don't want to
timer?
encourage you too much, but
I don't know how much has been there about my business, but I do want to
Okay.
make it clear that,
well, first of all, can we swear you in since it's a public hearing? So we'll have you swear, the village attorney will swear you in.
Sure. And yourself and anyone else that does care to speak this night,
Just raise your hand.
please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, please, continue.
so I'm a physical therapist. I graduated in 1993 from the University of Mississippi Medical Center. So since that time, I've specialized in pediatrics and neurology. I'm also separately a horse rider. So I clearly, I've ridden horses since I'm 6. I show competitively, and I still do. I'm an old lady that still gets on the horse and shows. So I knew very early on the benefit of the horse. It's really exciting. Several years ago, I
very good. Questions coming up? So it sounded like you said one client at a time, so
Absolutely.
not
My
a lot of
insurance.
traffic or noise and so forth, so,
Absolutely. My insurance will only, I'm not actually insured to do groups.
okay.
So
How often do you think you would anticipate, like Monday through Friday, or is this
I
happening?
can tell you my exact schedule. So I am Monday and Tuesday, I'm there in the morning. I take about a 2-hour lunch, and then in the afternoon from 2:30 to 6:30, sometimes 7:30. Generally get a cancellation or two a day. I've got kids with a lot of special needs that are often sick. Wednesday, I have one client in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, and Thursday is currently 3. And I will never trade on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
I like my weekends.
Okay. Very good. I think there's some interesting points that Mr. Brown brought up, unless somebody else has a question for the petitioner. Yeah, go
I had
ahead.
a question. How long typically are each session?
Yeah, that's a great question. Most sessions are an hour. I do have some clients that are there longer. So for instance, I have 2 clients that take a little bit longer to get their bodies ready to get on horse. They need to be stretched out and that kind of thing before they straddle a horse. So some of the kids that are really tight take a little bit longer. I have one client that does an hour of, no, she does 45 minutes of therapeutic riding and then an hour of PT after. So she does both. And I actually have another client that's now in college that used to do that as well. She would do 30 minutes of therapeutic riding and then an hour of PT or vice versa. So generally, 95% would be 1 hour.
Okay, and just to clarify then, so when you say you have one client, you mean like one client at a time at the facility, or just one, okay. I just wanted to verify and make sure it's clear, so.
Absolutely. And I can explain a little bit of how a session would look. I think that's real important. So I have a client come in, I have a mat table, and they come in, we work on some stretching, we might do some exercises. It would be more of a typical PT session that you might see. We might be working, depends, yeah, every client's goals are different. Then we spend only about 20 to 30 minutes on the horse. So there's only a part of the treatment hour that they're on the horse.
And how many non-residents? So the people, because obviously you don't own the facility, so
Right.
you're leasing, renting, or allowed to use it.
Yes.
And so how many other people besides homeowners or employees or volunteers or whoever, how many other people will be with you during a session?
There would be a horse leader, so
Right.
that's a paid person that is very familiar with the horses. They're trained extensively to lead the horses. And then generally 1, sometimes 2 sidewalkers. Have to have at least 1 sidewalker. So I would be on one side of the client, sidewalker on the other for safety.
Okay,
So
so,
a very small amount.
so 3 people basically per, okay, so,
And generally speaking, my leaders come for multiple hours, and same with the volunteers. So, like, if you're a volunteer at my facility, you don't usually come for just one session. You might come for a whole section of time, if that makes sense. So, like, I have volunteers that come from like 2:30 to 6:30. So again, this decreases the amount of traffic. Like,
Right, it's not-
they're there for a long period of time.
okay, all right. Other questions, concerns? How long have you been doing this hippotherapy?
I have been incorporating the horse and treatment sessions for 26 years. I've owned my own business since 2012. I started at Bull Run Equestrian Center, and then in 2020 I moved to a facility, a privately owned facility off of Fabian Parkway
Okay.
in considered Elbert Woods, Batavia.
Oh. Now, in terms of the, excuse me, in terms of the arrangements, you're basically leasing the stable and corrals, and are you supplying the horses, or are they?
Yeah,
From-
that's a great question. So I'm not there yet because clearly we have to have zoning before I move there. But what will happen is the Tates are here, they own the horses, and then there is one additional
Okay.
So every time, what my current situation is, and we don't have a contract yet because we were waiting to see if we could do it.
Sure.
My current situation is I pay each time I use the facility and the horse. So I would be considered a leaser. So I lease the horse, I lease the property each time. I do all the training of the horses though for the therapy. These horses are very specially trained. It takes a very quiet horse, a horse that's very
Yeah.
symmetrical. And then I train them with, we do ball tossing, we do musical toys, any kind of noises. These horses are very desensitized to anything. We don't use anything until every horse is completely desensitized to it.
Okay.
I think it's an interesting concept. This is now back toward more of a zoning. This is more back into the weeds. Do you have,
I'd like to say one more thing, and I just thought of it. The village president actually brought it up, and I think we'll hear from some people tonight. One thing that I believe, besides clearly, I'm 100% passionate about helping children with disabilities, but another piece of this are the volunteers. So I have a lot of kids that are in high schools, local high schools. I have a lot of people who have been with me, gosh, 17, 18 years. There are a lot of different people that volunteer, and I believe that brings a lot to the community. I have just tonight, before I was running out to get here, I'm signing hours for the high school logs because the girls are volunteering to get their requirements for some of the clubs and for some of the high schools. And I think that's very valuable. And gosh, over the years, volunteers come to help the kids. So often it's the volunteers that leave being helped. It's a pretty magical all-around situation. But I think the volunteer piece is quite nice for the village. And I live in the village. I live in Fox Mill. So I think it's a good thing for kids, and adults to have that volunteerism piece.
like I said, back to kind of into the weeds of our business is the text amendment. And from your package, you've probably seen the proposal or suggestion of adding the text special use. Adding it actually is quote it, but allowing it as a permitted use in farming and farm business. And then allowing as a special use in RE1, which is 4 acres or more, or RE2, which is 2.5 acres or more. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect too, which I think is kind of unique, is, and Mr. Brown talked on it briefly, is like, it's not really a home business because she doesn't own the home. So we're looking at having a business, which not the homeowner has, in a residential area. And so is that something that we have to think about, not just this one specific instance, but how does that percolate through the entire village, and are there any things, unintended consequences, is what I'm thinking about. The one example someone brought up was, if you could have somebody, you could lease a portion of your property, like your house or something, to, like say an architect, will take my extra bedroom and that'll be his office. He doesn't own the property, but that's a business now, and that's where his business is. So I think one of the ways the special use does kind of prevents some of that, so I kind of like the idea of using the special use. One, the neighbors, of course, all get involved, and then, but I would say, I would specifically like to keep that, I would like to restrict it in the sense of making sure that we don't open up a can of worms where all of a sudden people are opening up businesses and, when really not home businesses. They're just parlaying a shed or something. Yes?
Yeah, and special use, that would stay with that business. Source.
Because they would stay with the property or the,
Property.
so, it's a good question.
Because that's ultimately, right, so you could say, well, that was granted just for that particular situation or place.
Yeah.
We normally write ordinances that's
Yeah.
for a specific property. In the past, I think the village took the approach of actually granting it to a specific person or entity at a specific location. So, I mean, that would be at the discretion of the board and depending on, but we'd always have, for a special use, you always have the address, the subject property, there's always a subject property.
How do we treat the cooking school? Refresh my memory, I was involved in that. Was that a special use, or was the, because that stayed with the property?
That did stay with the property, yes, and that was an amendment to the planned unit development, part of the Fox Mill PUD. So the default setting is that it's linked to the property. There are, you can also make a condition that it runs with the property, but also in addition with the user of the special use, so the recipient of the special use. I think you did that recently on one, or you at least talked about that condition. If that's something that the applicant is willing to accept, and the village board is, the conditions placed on the special use, you can certainly do that. There's always the fallback that, if a special use is abandoned for a prescribed period of time, then it's no longer valid. So if the activity ceased, although it was granted to that property and that use wasn't being used there, someone else couldn't come in the future and try to revive it 5, 10 years down.
But there's no official time limit in the situation you're.
There's a time in the ordinance.
There's a
Is there a
sunset
time, like
provision.
6
Yeah,
months,
right.
whatever.
Yeah, I'll confirm exactly what it is, I can't recall, I think
I
it's.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it
yeah,
was-
yeah.
Yeah, and that's standard. So in that case, if the tenant were to, or the individual that's utilizing the use were to stop, and the property owner didn't have somebody doing that use or performing that use for some period of time, they couldn't just come in and try to do it in the future.
So essentially, the text amendment just permits us to create special use, a special use designation for the R1 and R2 zoning districts, but the board or the applicant can request how that special use is actually tailored.
Correct, yeah, the
Right.
special use is a
So
condition.
as long as we call it special use, we're done.
Right, you can have a special use,
Yeah.
whether it's existing now or in the zoning ordinance or not.
Yeah.
You could have an applicant in one part of the village that applies for a special use that would have certain conditions here versus different conditions
Exactly.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
And one of those conditions can be that it's linked not just to the property, but to the actual user.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
a
wanna
contract.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify that.
Right.
We don't have to determine what those conditions are, we just say it's special use, and that's, becomes our zoning code, and the board and the applicants will negotiate what is,
Right, and
Appropriate, yeah.
in the second public hearing, which is concurrent
Yes.
to the second, that's when you would
Yeah.
make that, those, yeah, that's good clarification.
Right. So
Okay.
just, again, maybe to clarify, so if we amended the zoning ordinance, special use, then each case, and I can't imagine we're gonna have, dozens of these in the next year or two, but each case would be unique, and we would treat that, and depending on the situation, we might, as the attorney just noted, we might attach a condition to one applicant, and maybe the situation would be different someplace else, we might have a different set of conditions there. But the fact that we amended the ordinance gives a person the right to apply for that special use. And again, we can deny the special use too.
One comment I think you added in the packet was about possibly putting it under the commercial in the zoning text. Was it an
No,
alternate-
what I
was it
meant
an
was,
alternate?
it's the section in the table. So
Page
there's
4 of
the-
7, yeah.
Table 7-1, I suggest we insert it under the education, public
Correct.
administration, healthcare, and other institutional uses. There's also a section in the table that's called commercial uses. It's not it's just where I insert it in the table.
Okay, yeah, 'cause
I don't think it's neither here nor there,
Okay,
really,
all
but
right.
I just thought I'd call it out in case someone wanted to. I think it's more of a healthcare.
I would agree. I like the way you originally put it forward. I think that would be best. My understanding is that the petitioner did reach out to neighbors and approach them with this proposal. And what kind of feedback did you get?
It did, I went to every house, it was a little intimidating. Their properties, it was 6 degrees, but actually, every single
to my understanding, we're gonna be tied two strides in motion, and she will leave, or we will leave, it's null and void at that point in time. And he's like, okay, I'm good. So, because his whole thing was on zoning and having that zoning follow, even if either of the two entities were not there.
I'm sorry, could you identify yourself, just for,
My name is Matt Tate.
Okay, you're the-
I'm the owner of the property.
yeah, thanks.
Thanks for the record, appreciate it.
So,
I thought so, but just,
Jerry?
so then that would be the case where you're saying, okay, we can do the zoning, but it is linked to the operator, in effect. And if that operator is no longer there, then it's gone.
Right, that's a condition that you can certainly
And
place
not,
on
and
it.
not waiting for a year later or anything like that. I mean, it's gone the day they
Right.
stop operation.
Right.
Because that, I think, needs to be very well clarified that way. Because I prefer special use based on the situation and not necessarily long-term for any property itself. And we had a most recent case where we were told that this was necessary for the property to continue to be good. And so we approved it, and the next thing I know is that the property was up for sale, and I presume that still runs with the property now.
Correct.
So that's where I think there
Okay.
we should link the
Right.
individual in special cases like this to the zoning.
It sounds like the petitioner and the homeowner, landowner are in a kind of an agreement with that general agreement, okay? So that sounds positive, so, all right, very good. I have my questions satisfied. Does anybody else have any other comments or concerns or questions?
I was just surprised that therapeutic wasn't more all-encompassing, quite honestly.
In the
Why we should,
zoning?
yeah, even worry about, this, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to define it some more, but I
Yeah.
would say that therapeutic, I would think, would be sort of the umbrella, whatever you call it in between. Because, so that's where I don't know if you have to go to a text amendment based simply on a definition. Now, unless you want to, we were to change the definition of therapeutic in the body of the zoning and all that says this includes this, and this, as a definition versus worrying about having to make a text amendment.
Well, I think part of it was there was no definition, so that's part
Right.
of the addition.
There was no
There's
definition
no
of
definition.
therapeutic
I think,
or.
yeah, I know, it definitely was not one of hippotherapy.
Right.
And I'm not sure if therapeutic, and so that would clarify the two. Now, the question in my mind just brought up then, is there a distinction where you would allow hippotherapy or would not allow the other? Would you allow one or not the other? And I think the only comment I received is that there's the potential, but it sounds like hippotherapy is very one-on-one, low density, low traffic, low, whereas the potential, I'm not sure if I'm educated on this correctly, but the potential is maybe therapeutic, could be group rides or
Yeah.
larger impact, so.
I think the Tates, the property owners, had come and approached me and said, we want to operate this business. I probably would have said, under the home occupation or home business thing, depending on how many volunteers or people they were gonna have there, I said it's probably gonna be fine. I think the distinction here was that it's a commercial use, that's not being operated by the homeowner. That was really what prompted this. And then you got into where I did not have a definition of therapeutic riding, and when I started to look at it, there was a distinction, as I mentioned before, from a land use perspective, perhaps not great, but while we're at it, let's just throw both of those definitions in there and take care of it, so. Do we need to include it as a permitted use in F and FB? I mean, again, we're amending the table. I think it looks odd if you have it as a special use in RE1 and RE2 and you're not having it in farm. I mean, that seems kind of odd, so I think we should include it in there. Just, again, it's a clarification.
No, so,
Well, I think, the need to make it a special use in RE1 and 2 is because it is, a smaller parcels and,
Right.
Potentially in neighborhoods, whereas
Right.
farm, it's
Yeah.
wide open, and so just allow it there.
I personally do not have the desire to go below RE2.
No,
So that would not be something that I would like to entertain.
no, I would not like to see any commercial exemptions on RE2.
Since it also falls in the realm
I mean,
of,
RE3,
All right.
excuse me.
I differ.
since it also falls in the realm of health and medical, would that in effect sort of allow it, because don't we allow some health and medical like things in a lot of different situations? I can't remember with the chart and all that.
Just looking, we got daycare center, healthcare facility permitted uses, but those are like commercial, boy, that's the commercial business. Most of it is school-related, religious-related, public safety, public works, public administration, hospital, healthcare facility, community center, adult education services. I'm just reading off the charts.
Yeah.
But that seems to be the best
No, I
place.
didn't know if that might be another place to cover it as
Yeah,
well.
the healthcare is minimal or very broad when it says hospital
Yeah.
and healthcare facility, all right. I don't have any further questions. I like the idea. I think this is a wonderful, it was such a very horse-friendly, I think, and farm-friendly. I think it's a great use of the horses, and it's obviously a benefit to residents or people in the surrounding community. People benefit from it, so I'm very much in favor of it. I would like to go ahead and take a vote. I'm sorry, public comment, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Before I take the vote, I'd like to have some public comments. But yes, if anybody else would like to make public comments, please, I don't know if the microphone's working up there. You can give it a try. Holly, would you like to, you raised your hand, would you like to speak?
Sure, yeah, I don't think it's being recorded, you don't need it, I can.
Okay, okay, all right, fine, all right.
Yeah, so I mean, I just heard about this and I read the agenda like at 6 o'clock. And what stood out to me, that I don't want you guys to get too in the weeds on this, like Commissioner Johnson brought up, we allow, in the last 2 zoning ordinances that the village has had, we have allowed therapeutic riding. And I kind of also didn't know what hippotherapy was either. I just assumed it was more of a umbrella therapeutic kind of thing. To me, this sounds like it's more quiet than even regular therapeutic riding would be, and more calm. So it's already allowed wherever you can have a horse. So that includes RE3s as well. So I would say, I don't know how you guys would do this, but to me, I just wanted to kind of say, we don't want to take away rights from people that we've already granted them. Because we would let them have a therapeutic business. I think where the difference is here is that this would have more than one additional employee. Because when we have our home-based businesses here, we only allow 1 employee. So that would be the change I see. So I just don't want other people to lose rights that they could potentially already do. You know, and when you're a piano instructor or all of our other, home-based businesses, it says you're allowed up to 4 people to be instructed at a time. And most therapeutic riding, hippotherapy, generally going to be 1 at a time anyway. So I think it kind of weighs out. If you're allowed 4 instructees to come with the business, you could, kind of have 1 instructee and then you have the 3 employees. It kind of weighs, it's the same amount of people if you do the math, basically, is what I was kind of thinking. Does that make sense?
All right, any other comments? Somebody's ready, yes. Would you just, yes,
My name's Vicki.
Vicki?
This is my daughter Kate. She has been a longtime client of Strides in Motion, and without the use of hippotherapy, I do not believe Kate would be in the position that she's in right now, where she's still learning new things and achieving goals. I think that her overall health would be affected, and the fact that she gets on a horse and she tells the horse to go with a communication device, and it gives her control of environment where she usually is just in a chair, where it is the most phenomenal program that kids like Kate can participate in. So I urge you to continue.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Yes, state your name.
My name's Heather Wainwright. I am a mother to may I approach and?
Sure.
He's been with Lauren and Strides in Motion since he was 4 years old. He's currently 18. So, we have been there for quite some time. I consider Strides in Motion family, and that means everybody who works there. So it's not just Lauren, who's amazing and who has gotten my son to do things he would never do. And like she mentioned, the horse is so motivating, and he is not a motivated child. She has gotten him to do things that not many people can do. And the strides that he, well, that's the name of this place, the strides that he has made over the years is amazing. The flexibility, well, his flexibility has come a very long way. And not only that, like I said, family. They're all family, all the volunteers, they mean so much to us. All the people who drive the horses and Lauren, and it just is a huge family over the years. And the amount of people that we've met and like been close to is just amazing. I know I've said amazing 100 times, but it really is a fantastic program. And the love and caring for our children, and not just our children, the parents also. Lauren has so much information and knowledge that she has passed down to us as parents who maybe floundering at times is undeniable. Like, we cannot thank her enough. So we encourage you to keep this going, and we absolutely love the program. And it is a quiet program, and it is like professionally run. It is wonderful, and all of the kids who volunteer and the adults who volunteer are just wonderful. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Just
Tate?
real quick as a property owner, I think the most important thing is people worry about traffic and parking. Our property, if anybody knows, is at the end of Town Hall. You go all the way and it dead ends. Our driveway is about 300 yards long. And the barn sits back against the back of the wildlife preserve. There's never gonna be a car parked in front of anybody else's house, because there's nowhere for them. They have to park down in my barn. I have a huge indoor riding arena, so it's extremely safe, and it's built for something like this. So we have the ideal property because we're off the grid, we're not in front of anybody in parking. And when you look at the traffic, I probably have more people come between Amazon, Walmart, UPS, and FedEx over Christmas than the probably show in my daily time here. So, and I think we all, if you look at programs, the underserved community is something that is so needed all around right now. And I think when we can do something like this, it just blesses a whole bunch of people. And we have the ability to do that on our property, so I'd really like everyone here to consider that, because the property needs to be used as it's built. So, appreciate it.
How long have you been a property owner, Mr. Tate?
Been a property owner, will be 9 years in May.
9, just curious.
9 years in May. I'm the second owner there. The original builder, I bought it from. I think the property was originally built in 94.
One
I
more-
just had one more question. Do you anticipate having to do any other improvements, like as far as accessibility to get riders and clients or, you know, into the facility or anything? Or is, I'm just kind of curious, do you anticipate doing anything like that?
One thing we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to build a ramp in the corner of the indoor arena to assist individuals to get on the horse. So there will be a ramp, but everything else pretty much is ready to go, because it is an indoor facility and it was built for people to come and ride, so. Okay?
Okay, that's great, thanks. Any other comments from the public at all? Yes?
Yeah, Mary Ann Willis, I have volunteered for 10-plus years, and I'm a nurse, and I'm still working, and Wednesdays are my therapy mornings. I used to do a whole day Wednesday, and so right now I'm only with one client, but there's many times I wake up and want to just sit home and have another cup of coffee, but those kids, the heart, the smiles they give you, there's nothing like it. And then a year ago, I now have a nephew, a great nephew, Sam, who's now 2 and a half. And Sam skipped crawling. He skipped rolling over. He was low tone. So I had to meant that the horse gate, when we stood him and held him as if he was walking, and now I'm happy to say Sam still has some low tone, but definitely, you know, did crawl in, did walk, and is now, you know, a happy 2.5-year-old, and so it's an amazing program, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I don't see any downsides anywhere.
Any further comments? Anybody else would like to? All right. Commissioners? Would you be ready for a vote for the text
Do
amendment?
we have a, what do you call it, the motion? I haven't seen a motion.
No, actually, for the first one, I didn't put that in, but I did put, you know, it's on, I think it starts on page 3 of the first staff report. There's essentially 2 amendments kind of broken down into a couple parts, and one is, you know, section 14.2, Article 14, add the 2 definitions, hippotherapy and therapeutic riding, and the other would be to amend Table 7-1, adding hippotherapy as a special use in RE1, RE2, and a permitted use in F and FB.
So if the commissioners are comfortable with the suggested changes that are in the memo, you can make a motion to adopt the recommended text amendments that are
I so
completed.
I'll second.
Mr. McKenzie and Mr. Kopeck, second. Any discussions or changes or any other thoughts? This is just for the text amendment.
Text amendment.
Just for the
Text
text amendment. Okay. The motion is made just for the text.
Question. If the village board didn't change the text amendment, could the special variance still be permitted?
No, because if the special use is not included within the zoning ordinance in the use table, then there's no ability to grant it.
Just one
Yeah, go ahead.
comment too, or question, shouldn't we be closing the public hearing first before we vote on the?
Making a
amendment?
vote will close the hearing.
Okay, all right. And then I just want to make a comment that I think it's appropriate to define hippotherapy as a separate item rather than just assume it's therapeutic riding, because my concern would be that before you know it, somebody might have a horse and, oh, it's therapeutic. And then all of a sudden it could lead the floodgates. And like you said, I don't think we have a lot of applicants for hippo riding. We may not have many others for other types of therapy. And offhand, I'm not sure what other types of therapeutic riding there might be. Maybe there's only a few.
You're 100% correct. There are a lot of people out there. I know of 3 or 4 places that call it therapeutic, and they are not medically licensed, they are not trained, they are not professionals. I think that is an extremely valid point. I think you need to make sure that it's done correctly. And I think that's very valid.
Well, the definition of hippotherapy, the zoning definition is a treatment strategy used by occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech language pathology
Right.
professionals.
Yeah,
So
and that's why I'm saying, I think it's appropriate
prevent
that we
anyone
leave
from
it,
saying that.
we leave it separate
Yeah,
as
that's
opposed to
the-
trying to combine it with
Right.
a broader sense. That's all, I'm just
Right.
making a comment.
Yeah,
on
so I
that.
think it's covered in
I agree
there.
with that, so.
I don't-
I hope that doesn't prevent me from bringing my service Clydesdale to the next meeting.
Well,
Okay, so the motion would be to allow the 2 text amendments to the zoning ordinance as stated in the staff report, without any changes that I have heard of. Okay? So, if
Roll
everybody's-
call?
If everybody's good with that, we'll do a roll call. This is for the text amendment only, all right?
all right. Commissioner Teat,
Yes,
Commissioner Anderson, Chairman Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kopeck,
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So the text amendment has been approved. So now we actually get into the portion of the public hearing now that is for the specific property. This is very related to it. The special use for 41 West 957 Town Hall Road, which we've been familiarizing ourselves with. A little bit different here. We would look at the have to ask ourselves the standard questions. Is this the three,
Findings of fact.
yeah, exactly, the three questions that would basically, is this appropriate for the permitted use, appropriate for the area, so I'm just trying to find the exact words in here,
Yeah,
but that would be,
Page 34 of the PDF.
Yeah.
The standards are in the findings next page.
34,
Yep, yeah, 34,
five of
okay.
that particular staff report.
all right, so the standards for the special use, because that's what we're looking at, whether we'll allow the special use for this property. So the first one would be the proposed special use will not endanger the public health, safety, or welfare. The second is the proposed special use is compatible with the general land use of adjacent properties and other property within the immediate vicinity. And the third is special use in the specific location proposed is consistent with the spirit and intent of this ordinance and adopted village land use policies. The next page is the staff's response to those. Basically, is that the site is secluded and already used, the first one is it will not endanger public health, safety, or welfare. And then the second one, general land use, about compatibility with the general land use. It sounds like the large property, which is like almost 9 acres, I believe, and then the third one is about consistent with the spirit and intent, and I think that's what I would believe it is. So,
The only caveat I'd have for the owners and
the special
and all
use
would
piece,
be, well, just offhand, what occurred to me is because we're next to Kempton Township open space, I don't think any of the prairie work they currently do abuts your property, does it? It's still in agriculture or something?
Correct. It's actually,
At this point in time, yes. And some future date, if it gets put into
prairie or something.
into prairie as well as riding trails are extended around it. That would be the only caveat, to be cognizant of when they're planning prairie burns, and of course that there will be horses on trails potentially up near your fence.
In the future, as a potential in the future. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So the current motion we have is, I'm just reading from the staff memo. The motion, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend to the village board the approval of an application for special use to allow a hippotherapy at 41 West 957 Town Hall Road, and that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward the 3 findings as discussed by the commission at this meeting and stated in the staff memorandum. I think the other point we wanted to bring up was the fact that this would, this special use is contingent upon stay with the homeowner, and that any, or the change of the homeowner, or
Well, I think that, so there were discussions on whether it would be both the homeowner and then the individual user.
Right.
Or just the homeowner, but that would be a condition that you would add to the recommendation.
Yeah,
so
so
I believe we talked about the homeowner and the user.
Yeah, so strides in motion.
Strides in
would-
motion,
Would be
strides in motion.
be limited to
And
strides in
current
motion,
owner.
yeah. Mhm.
And current owner.
Yeah, current owner and strides in motion.
And
So
that
if either
was-
of those changes,
And that was agreeable to
Yeah.
the parties, as I understood.
Correct.
Yeah.
Both parties, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that would be an amendment to that current motion. All right. You want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend to the village board the approval of an application for a special use to allow a hippotherapy at 41 West 957 Town Hall Road, and that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward 3 findings as discussed by the commission at this meeting and stated in the staff memorandum, as well as the condition that both the applicant, Strides in Motion, and the property owners don't
Special
change, I guess, or.
That the special use is granted to both the property owner and the current user,
Yes.
or the anticipated user Strides in Motion, and shall only be utilized by those parties.
Yep, what he said.
So I have a motion.
In conjunction.
Thank you.
I have a motion. Do I have by Mr. Teague, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McKelvey, is a second. Any other further discussion?
I'd like to at least make a comment, but
Oh,
Yeah,
I should have a question with regards to the village sign ordinance. I would assume that you were to have some identification at the entranceway that, this is your hippotherapy center. But is there anything, I don't recall how the village ordinance works with home-based businesses and owners. I know that, like in some of the HOAs, they have restrictions as far as what signage you can do
Right.
if you aren't the property owner but live there or something. But is there any restrictions of them putting a sign up, or does the property owner want?
Yeah, good. I would just go by whatever we have for home occupations and go with that. I mean, normally most zoning ordinances don't allow a lot of extensive signage in residential
Right.
zones.
It wouldn't be
So,
That's what I expect, not
I think,
extensive, I expect something
right.
to
And
designate that,
right.
to
This
the
isn't
world
the-
that this
the-
is, a unique
Right,
business.
yeah. It's not the type of business that is drawing people, they driving by and say, oh, there's hippotherapy, let's stop in and see what's going on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's
Not
all
gonna
arranged
be able to put
beforehand,
the
so,
horse outfit on and wave a
Right,
sign.
yeah.
Right.
Here.
so.
With the blown up
Yeah,
cowboy.
it's a valid question, though. I mean, I think I could go with Jim Brown and to say whatever the current signing ordinance is.
I guess let me ask the question, are you anticipating placing any signage for your
No.
business?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, well then,
We like it, we like it private, and actually, we've talked about this.
Okay.
I really don't want people from just a random person coming up. I mean, we like it, it's just,
The known entity.
Yeah, I foresee it more like a historical marker, saying that, this is, a unique opportunity in the village, and, we'd like to make sure that it's recognized as such.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And I do a lot of marketing outside of that, but I think that we talked about that, and the Tates we want to keep, there's no reason to advertise that Strides in Motion where we are necessarily. Strides in Motion, when I go to marketing things, I have a PO box or my home address that I use as my office. So for privacy reasons,
Okay.
and to keep it small.
Any other comments or concerns?
I just want to make a quick comment. I commend you on going out to all the neighbors and actually approaching them, and you as well, and trying to get some involvement and just not blindsiding them. I think that goes a long ways. It helps build good community amongst everybody and trust. So I commend you on that, and I think it's a great home business.
But as a side note, living just across the street on what was my great-grandfather's and Neil's great-great-uncle's farm, this property, the Foxwood Farm, I now know where all those Amazon trucks are coming from. And a complaint about that.
All right, so I have a motion that has been amended on the table by Mr. Teat. Do I have a second?
We've had
Yes.
second.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. I lost track of
So
it.
it's
So
on-
that
it's
was,
on the
you
floor.
already seconded it, didn't you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. McKelvey seconded it. Okay, so if you're ready, we'll do a roll call. All right, I'll do a roll call, Mr. Brown?
Yep, find my sheet here. Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Chairman Frederick,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kopek,
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey,
Big yes.
Commissioner Teat.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Congratulations.
Just
I
a
will state-
recommendation.
Yeah, I will state that we are not the deciding authority. So we are enthusiastically recommending that the village board, who meets,
Yes,
Did
can
you-
you explain that to me, because I do not know the process.
I will have Mr. Brown,
And I don't know.
Right.
I'll have Mr. Brown explain that to you. But basically, there's a village board, we're like a subcommittee, and we deal with these things. We make a recommendation to the village board, the village board will then have to have a ruling on the text, the ordinance text, like we did, and then they'll have to have another vote again on the actual special use. now that we have recommended it to make sure it is allowed, because before it was not. That was not something allowed.
Right.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, the village attorney will prepare two different ordinances, one for the text amendment, one for the special use for this particular property. And I don't know when that could be on the agenda, but they aren't.
Sure,
Well,
there's a
twice
meeting,
a month.
yeah, the next board meeting is less than a week from today, so it would likely be in one of the March meetings.
Yeah.
So early March, probably.
Okay, and would it be similar where we would want to all come to?
You certainly have the right to. It's usually not a bad idea for, at the very least, the applicant to come, and if the board has any questions, they can ask you. You can
Yeah,
certainly give a short.
if I can just comment, having been on the board, I would suggest you do it.
Yep.
And the more, if you have a group like this, I think it's good.
Right. And the board will also have, so they'll have the staff reports that were here tonight that will be also included in their packet with the ordinances. And it's sometimes the draft minutes from.
Right,
the last meeting.
I'll have time to submit the draft minutes.
So there'll also be a summary of everything that was talked about tonight, too. So that's just, the board has that context as well. So in case someone can't make it next time, their comments that were made tonight will be in there.
Okay, and will we notify,
Yeah, I'll let you know when the,
Yep.
and it would not be before, we can go to a horse show in Florida tomorrow, I just plan my trip with that, but it would not be before the 24th of February.
Well, so there's a board meeting next Tuesday. It won't be on that one.
Okay.
But the earliest would be
March
March 3rd. Is that, yeah.
And then
March
the
3rd.
next one will be March
Tuesday night,
17th.
7 o'clock.
Two Tuesdays a month they meet,
Yeah, March 3rd, then March
Second.
17th.
Yeah.
first and
Yeah,
third,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
first and third Tuesdays is when they meet.
You all are more than welcome to listen to us pontificate about some other zoning ordinance or something like that. But if not, and you'd like to go back, you'd like to leave, you're more than welcome to leave at this time. Thank you for your time. Yes. And we still have a little bit of business to do. If you'd like to have a conversation, if you just kindly have the conversation out there, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. We got one more item, gentlemen.
I know that.
It's the affordable housing plan.
Something rattling down here. We got mice in here.
All in favor?
The unaffordable unplanned.
Okay. Okay, let's go.
This thing before,
All right, page 55, or 56. And I know we've talked about this, and there are some, it looks like Mr. Brown has made some incorporations of some of our previous recommendations and suggestions. And looks like some of the questions really get later in the, like page 61, as we start getting some other questions, so, or page 6 of the document. Under, at number page 6 or page 56 of the electronic version, the first big paragraph of redlined item. If we look under item 3, lack of infrastructure to support housing density. The first sentence in black, I'm not really sure if that needs to be there. It says, due to the lack of sustainable revenue streams, the village will need to seek local, state, and federal government support for owners and renters. It's really talking about revenue, which happens to be item number 4, the next paragraph. I would just strike that first sentence in black. And it looks like, reading this, item number 4, looks like you have covered that topic in a different way. So, can we close that door by chance? Is that, would you mind?
Thanks.
Thank you. The very first actually the second sentence of the red paragraph there, it says only a small portion of the total area of Campton Hills is serviced by a water.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of dies.
Oh.
So you were talking about like a sanitary district, if that was the intent?
It was by a water district.
A water district,
That's what
yeah.
you said, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what you wanted. I'm fine with the other portions of it, because it just talked about
Yeah.
the water district there.
could put in some numbers, if that would be a little bit persuasive in that, what is Campton Hills, how many acres are we now? Probably about 18, close to 17, 18,000? Because a township's 22,000 roughly. And of that, there's only about 1,000 acres that's served by a water district. Short of whatever water facilities they have up in the line. So that,
It's less than 10%.
yeah, yeah, so.
Yeah, so we're talking about
you know,
single-digit percentages.
Yeah, so that might help put that in perspective for anybody reading this, that there's not abundant water districts.
You could say, it's like, only a small portion, approximately 6% or something like that, is serviced by a water district. Yeah, that would give it some,
Yeah,
when it,
puts it in perspective.
rather than a small portion, maybe, didn't have the exact number, because their numbers aren't exact, so,
I think I'd just say a small percentage,
yeah, a small percentage,
yeah.
you don't want to put a number on it?
No, because that number, I don't think it'll change, but once you put a number in, then if it does change, then you gotta update, and then
Yeah.
if you just keep it
Is a very-
generic,
Very small percentage?
yeah.
Well, let's see, yeah, I'm sure it'd still be under 10%.
Single-digit percentage?
Yeah, but if the new subdivision comes online,
Yeah,
that
but
could
still,
change it. But that's why I think it's just better, if you put a number on it, you're kinda just covering yourself and allowing for a little,
Yeah, but if I threw a number, I would include the recent annexation. That would be in that number.
But that, we don't even know if that's going to stand if the development doesn't happen. See, that's also quasi and murky. We know the annexations occurred, but they're,
It's not a guarantee.
the development hasn't proceeded through and final approval and all that to start with. So is it sort of premature to think or allude to that?
well, we approved it. All the
I
more
know we
reason to
approved-
not put a number in and just say a small percentage, because
Yeah.
then it covers whether it goes through and it covers whether it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way it's written now, it says, except for a relatively small area. You know, do you wanna add percentage in place of small area?
Or portion, I said only a small portion, but only a small percentage
Yeah.
of the total area. That's the
Okay.
second sentence, about only a small percentage.
I think percentage is stronger
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
than area.
that, at least it sounds like we've given it some thought, and there could be a number if somebody asks for it.
All right. Moving that down, just the next page, to item 5, preservation of affordable housing. And your comment there is, do we keep this or not? The preservation of affordable housing is not an issue, that level exists. I guess you could make a statement, something like, what affordable housing that does exist in the village should, should attempt, or will attempt to maintain,
Is there any?
Yeah,
something along those lines.
yeah, I would agree with that, say something to that, we will attempt to maintain all existing opportunities.
Is there anything that better clarifies the situation, though, that the economics of being able to live here precludes a lot of, right, and there's not it's not a city center, first of all, so it's not like there's lots of jobs here for people to be able to, live here and work here, kind of thing. So that in itself is sort of like, well, the nature of the community is not a job source for a broad range of people to be able to live in. And all. It's, we know the market force, that situation, but if you don't have jobs here to support people being able to live here, why would they come to live here, I guess? That can't.
It's more of a bedroom community.
Yeah, it's a bedroom
Yeah,
community.
so, I think this does address some of the issues we have, obviously, with, infrastructure,
Right.
that portion of it, but you do make a point, it's like, the village in itself is not a magnet for, or a industrial hub, or a place that creates a lot of jobs. This is more of a bedroom community, and so it's not, but no, where would you,
Yeah, I don't know how that.
well, that would
You
be in
want
that
it-
same
You don't want it
paragraph.
to present itself the wrong way on the one hand of saying that, but at the same time, it's like, well, this community didn't come about because there's a concentration of people in numbers. So like, you know, a territory couldn't become a state until it reached a population threshold kind of thing, because there's no need to do that. So that's where, you know, does this,
Jerry, I think if you read through this and look at look at it from a, 10,000 square foot view, it says that in this document. It's not like we have to call it out and, nail somebody with it. It's written in here in all the statements and the comments. It does flow through it.
Why does the preservation of affordable housing have to be addressed?
Isn't that the law, or is it?
I mean, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah.
Why are we opening?
Is that a
this? It's like
rhetorical
saying-
question?
Here we go.
I second
I don't
hope.
understand why we have to address it.
Yeah, I think it was explained in a previous memo, so.
Yeah.
And I think I like the chairman's change to
We're gonna
just
slap our hands.
identifying that
So-
we'll, preserve what affordable housing exists, because then you're really not admitting that we don't have any, so you're just kind of saying we're gonna preserve what we have.
Sounds stupid.
As the village will take the necessary steps to preserve the existing affordable housing within the village
Within its,
boundaries.
something. I think that would be a better statement than saying it's,
Say it, because we've never identified any affordable housing
Yeah.
technically. We have a little bit,
and
but we've never identified.
and then secondarily, with the market forces, there's nobody but wants to build any affordable housing here to start with. So that's a big factor. So the only way you're gonna be able to do affordable housing is through direct subsidy by
But this
but
plan
we're-
is from now into perpetuity too, as amended, so I think that's why we need to say, hey, we don't have to acknowledge that we have it, or we don't, we just need to say, we'll do what we can to preserve it, because
Yeah.
somebody could get a huge grant and build an affordable housing development in the city, or in the village, and that's great, then we'll work to preserve it, so I think we're just trying to, this isn't a today thing, this is a plan to kind of, look to the future a little bit, I think, so.
And I think it's a very narrow look when if you're looking just under 4.V or 4.5, It's just talking specifically here about preservation of affordable housing. I get the comments that you're making, but just to narrow that focus down to how do you respond to the people who are giving you this requirements? How are we responding to them, saying, what are you doing about the preservation of affordable housing? We're like, we'll preserve it. We're not gonna say we're gonna get rid of it all and put up, horse ranches. So I'd say that I understand your point, your comment too about, hey, you identify it, but I think it's a lot broader than that. They just wanna know, what are we gonna do for the preservation of affordable housing? It's like, we'll do what we can to preserve what we have. That's the way I would approach it.
Well, I
That's
just
kinda what
remember it
think.
got into some specifics, which maybe were just comments more than anything, saying, well, if you have a development comes along and we do X
Yeah.
percentage, and this is how many houses would be pulled out of some possible development.
Sure. I'm just trying to narrow,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to go through the
Yeah,
document. and
because
just kinda
the way
narrow it
this is
down.
written doesn't come off well. We're better off just saying we're gonna maintain what we
Well,
have.
I think that was just a question, that's just a question that Mr. Brown
No,
was
it is.
writing, so, but something to the effect that the village will preserve the existing, affordable
Right,
housing.
the only reason I have that in there, if you take a look at, on page 5 of this plan, factors constraining the creation of affordable housing. So, per the act, we are supposed to address certain things, and one is a description of any housing market conditions, it goes on, and other factors that may constrain the local government's ability to create and preserve affordable housing. So all I was trying to do here was add a subparagraph that specifically addressed the preservation of
Yeah.
affordable housing. If you think it's better to leave it out, that's fine. I just put it in because I tried to check everything that they wanted to have addressed.
I mean, you could use the argument that, well, we don't want to change our affordable housing areas into more valuable real estate by giving it additional zoning that allows for greater value. You know, like taking all the older homes and that perhaps are more affordable and saying, we're gonna make those now commercial districts and they'll have more value and therefore the homes will disappear and you'll have businesses in their place, something like that. I mean, that's one way to use the zoning constructively towards trying to preserve affordable housing, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure that out. I was trying to also use the concept of historic preservation, although also, you know, does that, you know, use historic preservation as a method to also try to preserve affordable housing, because not everything, we don't want everything to be big mansions and such. We want, so trying to keep the character of the community is also our attempt to trying to keep affordability.
So would we use that to turn down some new development? Like you said, if somebody wants to tear a bunch of houses down,
That are
we're gonna
affordable,
tell them no,
if they're affordable,
if it's affordable,
and we need it in our community.
I think though,
because
if,
that's what we're saying, if you're gonna preserve, you gotta mean it.
but if there's some affordable housing that somebody wants to tear down and do another subdivision or a new development, you can require then, as part of that application where they tear it down, they have to provide the same number of affordable housing units that they're removing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could certainly do that, because you may have some random scattered, you know, units that are considered affordable, and maybe you could get a larger, more defined type development in that. You could just require, you could make the requirement, or the village board could, or we could as the plan commission, require that, hey, you're getting rid of 6 affordable housing units, you gotta at least provide a minimum of 6 in this new development, otherwise it's not gonna pass. Because we're trying to preserve it. We're not saying that we're against development, though. I mean, but it's just, you know, and if it's
I just don't see it working, unfortunately, but, because we,
I don't
we
think any
did
of us
that
see it
here.
working.
So when Camden Trails came about, for instance, the one lot next to Dick Swanson had a requirement that it had to follow the same rules as Wasco. Well, it's still sitting there empty.
there are grants.
I just don't think it's really, we can say we want you to build them, but that doesn't mean anybody will live there. Usually it's just economics, it's really just economics.
Sure, and, you know, there are grants out there for affordable housing, for the construction of affordable housing. I mean, we've had, in my community that I work in, we've had developers come in and basically, they're gonna build a large, development, and I think over half of it was gonna be affordable, and that was all contingent upon them receiving a federal grant. Now, they didn't get the federal grant, so they didn't build it, but had they gotten that federal grant, that was part of their financing, they would have built that affordable, they would have built what they wanted, they would have made money off of that, because the affordable would have been paid for by the federal grant.
But
And it
nobody
would
in
have
this
moved forward.
community wants
No.
affordable housing. They don't
Well-
want that section 8 next to them.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
No, and that, yeah, Section 8 is
Not
not
talking about that, no,
necessarily
we're talking about
affordable, and I don't disagree with you, nobody wants
You know,
Section 8 next to
I
them.
don't see them
But I,
giving a grant, I just don't see that really happening here.
and it may not, but I think we need to put, this needs to help address all those things. And I think by, you know, we're not saying, no, we're not gonna have it, I think we're just saying,
Well, I think
We
it's
have
wrong,
limitations.
excuse me, I just think it's wrong for the state to force us to do this.
Absolutely.
I don't disagree with you.
It's not right. It's just, it's not gonna work. And I mean, there's other cities and villages that have had these issues and it doesn't work.
I don't
It's all
disagree with
really
you.
just economic.
100%. There are so many unfunded mandates that the state does to all these communities. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying this makes sense or anything. I'm just saying, I think this is our best foot forward to try to help address this and comply with this in the most efficient fashion, maybe.
One thing
That's
though,
all, that's
with,
all.
the concept of, okay, developer comes down, to tear down a dozen affordable units, build now a dozen affordable units. Odds are, because they're newer structures, because of the new development around them, the more expensive homes, that's gonna raise their value regardless. So the first owner may get it affordably, but he's gonna sell at the highest price he can to the next one. So it's almost like if you look at the development around Elburn, a lot of those houses, when they first put up, they were more modest than what had been being built, and their prices seemed high enough, and now they're even much higher. So it's sort of like, you can't preserve affordability when you got these darn market forces, you know, so you're almost better to, let's keep the old that may not have all the things the new might afford, even an affordable house structure that, okay, we're going to add a TV room because, in old houses, they did not have a TV room or a rec room or whatever, you know, but that enhances its value, makes it more marketable for the modern day expenses. So whereas if you're preserving historically, that's maybe in less demand and all, and then keeps prices a little closer to what might be, quote, seem affordable in that community. So I think any new construction, regardless of what it is always gonna increase in value much more rapidly than affordability stabilizes. The intent of affordability is to be sort of a stable kind of thing, I would presume. It may go up over time, but it's not gonna go like that, and I suspect that that's what's gonna happen with any new construction ultimately. But, so I'm just throwing that out there as
Yeah.
things to think about. I don't know that offers any thoughts or ideas or concepts that we might incorporate in this, but just what
I kind of like
is
the historical
pitfall?
aspect of it. I think you could work the historical aspect into that. It's like, you know, we want to maintain some
But
historical.
historical preservation is never affordable.
Not the process of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna rehab, if you're rehabbing, it's not affordable.
Homeownership's not
Yeah.
affordable.
Yeah,
There's grants for that too.
yeah.
Not a lot, no, there aren't. I
Yeah, there
guarantee
are.
that. Not much.
There's a lot.
not
No,
much.
no.
Well, but I don't disagree that we can't preserve what we have.
That's what, I think that's what.
But
you
I
should
I
put
think
in.
that's all you need to say.
That's all you need to say.
I
I
don't
agree.
think you wanna get in the weeds, just say.
I'm not saying that we're probably ever gonna have affordable housing. I'm just saying, to comply with the state requirements of having a plan,
Have a
I think we have a plan. I think that sentence of we'll preserve whatever
Yeah.
affordable housing we have, I think, in my mind, that checks that box. And at
You-
least,
We will,
if we delete that sentence, I think somebody at the state could say, well, what are you gonna do about preservation? You don't even mention it. Well, if we have that line, we can go, we're preserving what we have. Well, you don't have any. Well, we never did, so we can't. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, at least we're addressing it. We're not just ignoring the preservation side of things, that's all.
The village takes strong efforts to preserve all our current affordable housing. I mean,
Yeah.
There you go, I like that.
that's all you gotta say.
Strong efforts to preserve our
Yeah,
affordable
take
housing.
strong efforts to
as long as we're
preserve all our
encouraging
affordable
developers to attempt to try to maybe find a place
All right.
for it.
Jim, so simple, 4 subsection V or 5 on
Yep.
that, just a simple section,
housing. Just one simple sentence.
a simple
Saying
sentence.
that we're gonna do it. We believe strongly that we wanna preserve it.
Yep, we're strongly,
Yeah.
the village wants to strongly preserve the affordable housing that exists.
Yeah,
All right,
that's it.
all right, moving on. All good topics, but I just wanted to get that, to address each of these red items, all right? Potential water extension, it's true. That is, we are currently considering establishing a TIF district,
Yeah,
so,
it's true.
and then,
I have a question.
yeah,
TIF. And that's for the box,
yes, for that area.
but at the hearing, Dave said that he wasn't gonna pursue TIF with us.
I don't
And
remember,
thought
I don't
was a
remember that.
dead
I don't,
issue.
I remember making myself, or I remember making the statement that TIF would not be discussed at the meetings, and that hearing, nothing was
Right.
going to be discussed about TIF.
That's
Right.
It was
correct.
only about the annexation and the proposed thing. I don't recall Dave,
But I
That's
remember
all I was
saying
saying.
something, I don't know if
yeah,
anybody.
I never
but he
heard him say that
said
we're not
something,
we're
"I'm
not gonna have a
pursuing it
TIF.
at this time. Is
Yeah.
that what,
That might.
Yes.
so
I
I
think,
thought he meant, you know,
I think it's been like
For
a
this
cart
project.
before the horse. I mean, first of all, you gotta annex, you know, and then you gotta get a preliminary approval. And once you have the preliminary approval, it's like, okay, we have to get these steps first, and once we get that, then I can spend the money and say, okay, let's,
Establish a TIF district.
yeah,
and-
do that, so.
but we believe that's in our best interest, the TIF district.
That's what the TIF committee is gonna figure out, that's, so, that's what they're
Well-
Gotta figure that out.
I would consider softening that statement.
The
Something,
village is currently considering? that?
yeah, something to like, the village will consider establishment of TIF districts to finance the extension of water and sewer for
For
developments,
future developments?
yeah. Rather than making it sound specific for LaFox, because,
Yeah, I wouldn't make any
Yeah.
specificity
Yeah,
in
like
something
tying
like
it.
this. This is
Yeah.
a general broad statement.
Yeah,
It's not
that's a
just-
good point. That's a
So,
good
you know,
point.
over
Yeah.
time, we will consider.
yeah,
Plans
we
to
will
mitigate.
Consider all available financial tools that will,
But TIF doesn't have to be sewer and water.
no, it can be all sorts
Yeah,
of stuff.
right.
It's whatever
Right.
you
We
use
have to
service.
But we know that's
Data
one of our
centers.
critical things, is sewer and water, because nothing's gonna happen without it, right?
yeah.
So, development.
Right, but I mean, do we have to say it in this instance, or shouldn't it
No.
be broad? TIF
It-
should be broad.
It's very broad, and I think if you took 5A and said potential extension of water and sewer service, period,
Yeah,
and not to LaFox, and then you could say the village
will
will
consider,
consider the establishment of TIF districts to finance the extension of water and sewer infrastructure,
for future developments.
or just, even
Yeah.
just water. So basically, the question is, what plans do you have to eliminate or mitigate constraints? Well, we have a constraint that we don't have the infrastructure. Hey, we would consider TIF districts as a way to get rid of that, get rid of that constraint. That was what we're telling
Wait a
them.
minute, let's see, but if the constraints are real,
Put it this way, what if Wasco, like, I understand the Wasco Sanitary District, which is established, is at capacity, you know, they don't have any more sewer capacity. So is there a potential that we could allow, like, one guy came up here from this Wasco District and said, we need more like 40 acres of spray fields. I mean, if something came up and we could assist in getting more spray fields or more capacity for the Wasco Sanitary District, that would
Expand the
allow, we could help expand it, right? Maybe that would be a TIF district, maybe that would be a TIF or something like that. So that's
Well-
kind of the way I look at it.
I think there's always the excuse that we could always pump it 20 miles out. It could always be done. I mean, it doesn't say it's economical, or if even you could make it across municipal lines or anything else, but just saying, you know, if you had to expand the district, yeah, just pump it out 20 miles. That's just, I mean, that's sort of like the broad statement here we're making, that saying we'll consider TIF to expand service. So,
or just. I
Doesn't
would
say it's
just
feasible,
Consider all
but-
available
Yeah,
tools.
yeah, you don't have to take TIF out of it.
You could just say
Yeah.
all available tools.
all available finance.
that,
To finance,
that
how about
fit-
to expand current or
that-
future?
We don't
Yeah.
have to talk about expanding, say all available tools that would enhance our ability to have or preserve affordable housing.
Well, it's, how are you gonna eliminate,
The water.
mitigate, what are your constraints? What are the constraints? We said the constraints are water, money, water, sewer, money, those are the big constraints. So how do you eliminate those constraints?
I think adding the TIF district is appropriate, or at least discussing it, because if you read the paragraph before, it says a plan or potential strategy to eliminate or mitigate the constraints identified in item 4. TIF is a potential strategy that could help eliminate or reduce that constraint.
Or a strategy?
Well,
Or
now, wait a minute,
strategy.
but what are constraints?
know.
Because,
Money,
you know, if you're in the middle of a desert and you don't have water, that's a constraint, but it's one that's just the nature of it. I mean, it's like you're supposed to overcome,
You say, well, I could drill
You
for
know,
water. I could grow cactus.
so I'm trying to
Because the
understand
water's
where,
in
I can
cactus.
see where as a,
Pipe it in from the ocean.
a public body might, manufacture constraints. You know, saying, well, this is a constraint, this is why we can't do it. But if there's an actual existing physical, you know, it's sort of like, well, the reason why we have slow transportation between here and the other side of the county is because we got a river in the way. What are we supposed to do, pave over the river to make it get there as fast as possible?
I think we've identified that we have restrictions. We have
Yeah.
restrictions upon us for why we can't build affordable housing.
That's what we
So
identified,
we're-
number 4.
Yeah, so now we're saying, well, how,
Before this.
you've identified, the village have identified what's going on. How do you plan to mitigate those or
I mean,
combat
he is
those?
addressing what we're
Well,
supposed to be
Yeah,
addressing.
yeah, so I,
4B3 says lack of infrastructure to support housing. It says a plan or potential strategy to eliminate or mitigate under 5, a plan or potential strategy to eliminate or mitigate the constraints identified in item 4.
Yeah, it's very specific.
How are we going to help mitigate or eliminate or
But isn't
deal with
that
the infrastructure issue? We could, one tool is
That's
to.
almost implying you have to do something, you have to,
Potentially.
you have to develop
No, it says
yourself.
pot-
You
plan
have to
or
develop
potential
yourself to the
strategy.
maximum amount.
Here's a way we can do
There's
it.
one way. It could be, we could write Mrs. O'Leary wins $1 million on Powerball and gives it to the village too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a strategy.
I think we're
Highly
getting a little bit
ineffective, but yeah.
too detailed here. I think this is really a very broad
It's supposed to
document.
be obscure.
Yeah, it's a broad document, and I think we just need to give broad and general answers. What, and we're responding to item 4 and saying, hey, what can we do? What plan or strategies do we have? Well, we could try to expand our water service, and we could use different tools for strategies, including TIP. So we're trying to respond
I
to,
mean, I think it's fine.
so,
Yeah,
Is there other programs besides TIF?
lottery.
Is that typically the only option for
You
any?
could establish a
There's
taxing
grants.
district.
You could,
Yeah.
you want to increase
There's
that.
grants,
you know,
which we
you know,
mentioned.
Why don't we
Yeah.
become a taxing authority?
But
Right.
there's-
Yeah, that's it, put that in there. That'll go over big with everybody.
like I said, broad, general.
No, no, what I'm saying, I'm answering
We
his
need
question.
more taxing authorities
We
throughout
don't
the
need more
state
taxing. You want the truth,
to
that's
meet
fine.
these
That's
mandates.
fine.
Unless someone has another idea for other. All right, so, we're just trying to address general ideas of how to plan and mitigate. Does anybody does anybody want to change 5A? The village is currently considering establishment of a district to finance extension water sewer. I'd say we talked about get rid of La Fox at Camden Hills, say potential extension, so 5A, potential extension of water and sewer service. And the village is currently considering, the village will
Would.
consider
Yeah.
the establishment of TIS districts to finance infrastructure or water and sewer.
Yep,
And strike for this development.
that's correct.
Right,
That's correct.
Okay?
yes,
All right?
exactly.
All right,
correct.
let's press on. All right, any other strategies like Neil was asking? They already talked about, in the B, it talks about PUD approval process, varying housing types, low density buildings, that could support affordable housing, I don't think I have any other ideas. The only thing which might, no, it's already covered in the first one, potential extension of water and sewer service. So I would say it's, C, strike C.
More boarding houses,
5C, strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
historically traditional.
Having
I
heard
mean, I
no,
should be able to rent my room up in the.
I think the last meeting, I think we're all in pretty much a good agreement on this, but just make sure everybody else is on board. Under 6, we have 3 options. It seems that the least impact option for our village, which I believe is what our residents would like, would be item under B, 6B, which would be a minimum of 5% increase. It's not to be confused, a total 5%, but it's 5% on top of what you already have. All right, so we have to pick one of those, we have to pick at least one of, or more. I would say we just pick one.
I would
Pick
go
B.
with B.
B,
Right?
B.
B, everybody, we were kind of all in agreement last meeting.
We were, yeah.
But
Yeah, we
some
were.
people were not here, so.
Right, we were in agreement.
Yeah, so B it is, B's the winner.
Yep.
All right, okay. All right, and I think your final paragraph on 8 was right on the money.
yeah.
The major limitations to affordable housing are.
Well, that's
sewer
what you
connection.
said, so.
Yeah,
I just took it off the recording, come
Yeah,
on.
I recognize it.
Complimenting
I
yourself over
recognize
there.
it. No wonder I liked it so much. Okay. I don't think there's really anything controversial. I think it's a little bit of wordsmithing. Would you feel comfortable recommending this to the village board? I would.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unless there's other comments, I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments?
So let me review. So we would forward this to the village board with the following, so I understand, the following revisions. So on page 4, I have in red under item 2A3, there's nothing we're adding there, so that's eliminated.
Correct.
On page 6, item B3, lack of infrastructure to support housing density, that first sentence should be moved and modified as appropriate to subparagraph 4, lack of revenue streams, or just eliminate.
I
it.
just
eliminate.
eliminate.
I
I
meant
think
to-
actually,
okay, that's why I didn't-
I think
okay.
you cover, I
Right.
think you cover that in 4 already.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
So just strike the first sentence in
Right.
black.
And then I add, district is missing in line 3 in the
water.
red, so that is added.
Yep.
And we
Okay.
want to change portion to percentage.
Yep,
Yep.
that was my next portion to percentage. And then on the preservation of affordable housing, a statement indicating that the village will attempt to preserve.
Maintain
Maintain
and
and
preserve.
preserve, maintain, there it is, maintain and preserve its existing.
Existing affordable housing.
Yeah, okay.
With all of its tools at its disposal.
Right, okay.
Inventory.
And then,
Hang on a second, I think.
I just want a quick, instead of water district, I would recommend we change it just to system, because we could tie on to St. Charles Water System, and it's not maybe necessarily a district, it doesn't.
okay, system.
Oh, okay.
Just a thought,
Yeah,
you know,
I didn't know
because-
the distinction, so, but that makes sense.
because then it's just a system, it doesn't,
System, okay.
sorry.
Or you could
No,
say
that's
water-
good.
You could say water district or system, but
Yeah.
that is
Right.
the water system.
And then,
Go back to page 7.
yeah, 5A, modify that sentence in red to be more general, that the village will consider the establishment of TIF districts to finance future development, essentially, right? Is that what you decided on?
Finance, it's an extension, the extension of water
And sewer?
and sewer,
for-
period.
Okay,
Yeah.
Period.
all right, period,
Doesn't
okay.
have to be development, because,
All right, yeah, good.
and the other thing is the first 5A in black
Mm-hmm.
is potential water, extension of water and service, sewer service, period. So you'd strike the word "to" and then La Fox at Campton Hills. So the first sentence would read, potential extension of water and sewer service,
Okay,
period.
period, okay. All right, and then subparagraph C, other is eliminated.
Strike, yep,
And then we are selecting item B,
unanimous.
all right?
So you would delete what, A and C and just put A, or just put,
Yeah, I'll rearrange the
Sounds good.
outline accordingly.
Yep.
And then, obviously, any place I say comment, that's intended to be eliminated. And then, that's it. And then, page 8, we're keeping the red
Okay.
in there, that was a revision. So those would be the revisions as I understand.
That's good.
TIF be such as TIF?
It's
It
not
doesn't have to be.
correct.
I mean, you could look for other sources.
Yeah, we do mention grants in here at least
could say,
once, but I could do it
Tools,
again.
or tools
Right.
like TIF,
Right, it doesn't have to be TIF.
federal grants, whatever.
Or you could say, or is it, the village is it will consider the establishment of TIS districts or other
Yeah.
tools to finance
Right.
the
Other
extension.
financial tools.
Other financial tools
That's fine.
for the extension of water and sewer.
All right,
Because, I mean, the whole TIF concept is so blown out of proportion
Well,
these days from what it was
Well,
intended
that's
to
the
be.
trouble.
Yeah.
You look at it,
It's supposed to be for blighted areas.
Can I get a motion?
I would like to make a motion to recommend to the village board approval of the 2026 Affordable Housing Plan as amended during our discussion.
All right.
Second.
There a second, Mr. Kopek. Any further discussion, concerns?
Yeah, with, TIFs were initially meant for blighted areas, so maybe that's how we should phrase it, is say that, or the use of TIFs in any blighted areas, Camden Town, Camden Hills.
As soon as we
You
find
know.
some blight.
That's right.
That word blight has morphed into a lot of meanings now,
Yeah,
I think. So
they're all
I could-
farmlands. blight because it gets water on
One man's blight is another man's,
Yeah.
Waters of the US.
okay.
It rained.
So I have a motion and a second to recommend to the village board the approval of the 2026 Affordable Housing Plan as amended. Going to take a roll call, please?
Sure, sir. Commissioner Johnson?
I was willing to vote opposite just for the sake of having one opposite vote. All right, yes.
Commissioner Kopeck?
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey?
Yes.
Commissioner Teat?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson? Chairman Frederick?
Yes, motion carries. How about one more motion?
Move for approval, move for,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Any-
So moved.
No,
I so moved.
no, the only thing I'll say is like, I don't think next month, unless,
There is,
just to give a heads up before.
no, no, you know, I did get an application for rezoning and subdivision, and it was from the new owner of the Yaki property.
No.
Same thing we considered last year. So I sent him the PUD ordinance. And I said, weren't you aware of this when you just purchased the property? So I haven't heard back from him, so I'm not going to process it.
Which one's
What
that again?
property is that, yeah?
It's on Harley Road.
Oh,
Yeah, we considered that last year, and we found out that it had already been authorized for a subdivision and residential
Oh, that's right.
units. So it was the same request, just came in. So we won't have anything.
So we may not have anything.
No, we're pretty much at the deadline now.
Yeah, okay.
So I haven't gotten anything. So we'll probably have a month off.
Okay.
At least.
The
I
only-
think